welcome to another video. My name is Ruby, this is Ruby Red, and today my dog is picking my TBR. You may have seen a video that I put up a couple of weeks ago where I was in a reading slump. I didn't know what to read, so I read the first chapter of a bunch of different books and hoped that one of them would spark something in me and I would get back into having a good time reading. And it worked, but then it worked too well because now I'm having a great time reading. Well, I just finished a really bad book, but I'm ready to read something so good, and there's so many books that I have that I want to read and I don't know where to start. So I have put together 2 different stacks of 3 books, and I'm going to just lay them out and let my dog, eat a treat off of all of them. And then whichever one he eats the treat off of first, that's what I'm gonna read. So I'm gonna pick 2 books that way, and then it's a reading vlog. I guess I'll just say a difference between now and when I was doing that try chapter is that I, since doing that video, brought a bunch of books to trade at a local used bookstore, and I brought home a couple of books that I'm really excited about, and then I was still really excited about some of those try chapter books, and there's always other books, and I'm just feeling so many good books and where to begin. So the first stack of books I put together has 2 of those try chapter books that I have not yet read. I did read a couple more chapters of one of them, but that's not that much. And then another one is just a book I just got from my library. I just saw somebody talk about it in a video and I cannot remember who, but I just heard about it and I was like, oh, that sounds good. And then I put a hold in it and then I got the hold and now I have it. So first is Into Thin Air. That was in my try chapter video, and I did read a couple more chapters. I do want to read this. It is on my TikTok TBR, and that'll be great to finish this week. Then I have Mary Jane. I just put a sticky note on Emma by Jane Austen because that's an ebook, and this is another book I read in that try chapter, and I was really excited about it right after I finished the chapter, but I haven't read it yet. And then None Shall Sleep is the extra one because I didn't really want to read that Megan Miranda book. That's the only other thing that I had that was from that video. So here's this. It's a thriller. It has a knife on the cover. I don't know. And then the second stack is all books that are over 500 pages because that's one of the prompts on my TikTok TBR this month that I have yet to fulfill, and let's just why not, right? So these are actually 3 books that I got from that used bookstore, not all at the same time, but anyway, this is Wool by Hugh Howley. It's a science fiction book that is going to be adapted into a show or a movie next year, I think. And it was in there, and I have looked at it the last 3 times that I went there, and I don't go there super often, so it was just still there, and I was like, it's gonna be adapted, so it's gonna be so hard to get a hold from the library, so I bought it. I think it's about people living in a silo after the apocalypse, but underground. Okay, then I have Free Food for Millionaires by Min Jin Lee. This is a book that is by the same author as one of my favorite books, Pachinko, and I know basically nothing about this, and I don't want to know, I just want to read it. And then the third book is Foundry Side by, who is it by? Robert Jackson Bennett. So this is a book that I got because it was recommended by Dasha from Mythic Pages. She did a video recommending adult books for people who hated specific young adult books or something like that. I'll link it down below because it was a great video, great concept. And this was recommended as an adult heist fantasy for people who didn't like the young adult heist fantasy Six of Crows. And I haven't read Six of Crows, but I am not going to, but I'm gonna read this. Okay, here's the first round. This was a lot harder to orchestrate than I anticipated. Carbon, come here. Come on.
No, little man.
Carbon.
Good boy.
Come get a treat. Oh, okay. That was easy. Alright, and now we have round 2. honestly, that was more challenging than I thought it was going to be, but here are the books that Carbon picked. Foundry Side, very excited. Yeah, heist, like I love a heist movie, and I don't think I've ever read a heist book, so I'm really excited to read this, and hopefully this is a genre that I can really get into because I love a heist movie. And then Mary Jane, my mom left a comment on one of my videos saying I read that 70s book. Ugh. So who knows what that means. But at the very least, it means that once I finish this, I can text my mom about it. That's that for now. It's Wednesday night. I am definitely going to read something tonight, but I don't know how much because I think it's date night. Me and Connor are going to go out, get dinner, hang out, probably watch a show or something. So I don't know when I'll be back, but I'll be back when I've read something. Good morning. It's Friday morning. So Wednesday evening, me and Connor did go out to eat. We went to this Indian place called Curiosity, which was really fun and good, and the cocktails were very cute, and I read a bunch of Mary Jane that day, but then I was kind of not feeling it. Like, I even thought maybe I should just like redo the beginning of the video and like have Carbon pick something else. But it was honestly kind of a pain to do it in the first place, so I was like, no, we're gonna stick with this concept, we're not cheating, whatever. So yeah, I read more of Mary Jane this morning, and I don't know, it's that age-old argument of like, just because something is of the times doesn't necessarily mean you should write it into your book. Maybe I think that all of the kind of offensive things that have been written in this book, you know, they're being used to show that, you know, the type of people that these characters are, like Mary Jane's parents, are prejudiced, they are anti-Semitic, and I'm sure that that kind of family in the 70s would have probably had those ideas. But I think that the same like characterization of them could have been accomplished in a different way. Similarly with some of the other things that other characters have said, like, I don't think that that element needed to be used to characterize or like, I don't know, show anything. So yeah, that's like, I don't like, but I don't know, I like the sweet little relationship that is developing between Mary Jane and her young charge, Izzy. I am nervous about what's going to happen to them, but it is what it is. Anyway, yesterday I didn't read Mary Jane at all. On Thursday, I read about 60 pages of Foundry Side. I don't know, I was so tired yesterday. I don't know what happened to me, but I just like could not use my brain for anything. But I did use it a little bit to read Foundry Side, and I'm really surprised by it so far. It's like not goofy, but the premise is this girl, Sanchia, who is a thief, and she lives in a world that kind of feels like Italy a little bit, but she lives in this world where certain people have figured out how to like write magical sigils and other like stuff on things. They write the stuff on the things to change it, to give it like, you know, a magical power. And she also kind of has a magical power that she uses to be a very good thief. And she steals something at the very beginning of the book. And then that thing is talking to her. And it is like, hello, I am a key. My name is Clef. And she's like, why is this key talking into my brain? And yeah, it seems like Sanchia and Clef are gonna go on like a little adventure together, which is like not what I thought. Was just like, to have an inanimate object as a character is simply not what I was expecting to find in this book, but I'm not mad about it. I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah, this morning I was reading Mary Jane again with my breakfast, and now I'm actually just gonna go back to work, but just wanted to pop in and say I'm annoyed by Mary Jane, but I have not abandoned it yet because I really don't want to start another book and do a whole thing. I just want to have 2 books in this vlog. I just want to read 2 books. Like, is that so much to ask? I feel like I'm not doing a very good job vlogging for this vlog, but okay, it's Saturday night. This morning I just kind of hung out and read my book. I read Foundry Side. Yeah, I read Foundry Side this morning. I didn't get to read that much last night, but definitely made up for that today. Really getting into it. And then I had a coffee date with Kayla, which was so exciting and so fun. It was really, like, I mean, cool to meet her and just like hang out and like have a friend. So thanks for hanging out with me, Kayla. I'll link her channel below. I don't have any evidence of that. I don't have any proof, but we did hang out. We did have a good time. And then I came home and basically just went back to reading my book. And then I took a break to make dinner. I made this butternut squash soup, which was really good. It's soup season, so that's great for me who loves to make soup. And yeah, now it's, you know, nighttime and I've like literally just been reading for ages and having a great time doing it. So here's where we're at. Foundry Side is so good, and just, I don't know. I don't know if it's fair to call it a heist book because the heist is like a minuscule amount of pages at the very beginning of the book. Like, it's mostly not about the heist. It's about the consequences of the heist, which is still good, interesting, whatever, but it's not a heist book, in my opinion. So far. Maybe there's going to be another heist. Basically, our main character, Sanchia, has stolen something. I think I said this already. She stole a key named Clef, and when I read Clef's voice in this, when I read Clef's voice in the book, it's Tony Soprano, and I can't justify or explain that, but that is what's going on inside my brain while I'm reading. But I feel like now I have gotten more of a sense of what this book is like about. Because it takes place in this magical world where there are objects that have sigils on them. They've been scribed or scrived. I don't know if it should be scribed or scrived. Are they scrivings or scrivings? I think scribe. Like, it's like scribe with a V. Really having a lot of trouble with that. But anyway, those magical symbols are kind of what powers this whole world. They are basically like just an advanced technology, and we are exploring the effects of capitalism, basically. But instead of technology or what have you, it's this magic system that like is kind of how everything works. And if anything happens to it, if it goes wrong, it is disastrous. And also like only those who have power can control it or use the best versions of it or get the most out of it. And those who, you know, do not have money, they don't have power, they can't really get it because the only way to get it is to already have it. Capitalism. So that's, I mean, fun for a fantasy to get into, because I think a lot of times they get into more of the, I don't know, other political socio-political issues, like colonialism and slavery is a big theme in a lot of fantasy, but I don't know that I've ever read a fantasy that was so much about capitalism. Maybe I just haven't given this enough thought. Whatever. So I'm having a great time with that. I really, yeah, I like the book. We have our characters. Of course, we have Sanchia, and then we have this guy who is like I don't know, he's trying to stop the thief who stole from the safe at the waterfront, which is where she stole the key from. And then we have somebody else. We have another player on the board who is trying to get the key, I guess. But it's like really weird for the key to be so sentient. So I'm kind of like wondering if he's gonna, if it's not just a key, like I don't know, I'm hoping that something crazy is gonna happen because that's what I like when crazy things happen in books. Yeah, I'm 150 pages in and I'm going to keep reading tonight, and sorry Mary Jane. Wow. Yeah, tomorrow's still the weekend. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Connor has sworn up and down to make some lava cakes, so fingers crossed for that. Good morning. It's Sunday morning. I stayed up really late reading last night, and so I slept in this morning, and when I woke up, Connor had brought me a coffee, which is so nice. And so I've literally just been sipping on this latte in bed reading, and that's the ideal Sunday, I suppose, but I'm sorry if you can hear whatever Connor's watching in the living room. I said last night that the magic in this is like treated like a science and it's incomprehensible to most people. So we have this like mad scientist inventor type character and his assistant, and the way that the two of them interact is very much Julie, do the thing. If you know, you know. So that's hilarious and super fun, and yeah, all I really wanted to say. Also, thank you, Connor, for this coffee. It's like 5 o'clock, but it's so dark outside. It's raining today. It's Monday, and sorry I didn't really have that much going on this weekend. The lava cakes were a no-go. There was an incident with the ganache, and that's been tabled for now. Put a pin in it, you know. So yeah, I'm just hanging out. Work was so blech today. I just feel like I didn't do anything, and I don't know how to do anything, blah blah blah. So yeah, I'm just watching a hockey game and reading while I watch it. I'm kind of reading Mary Jane, but actually I wanted to just talk quickly about this book, Tarot for Change by Jessica Dorr. This book actually I think is not supposed to come out until tomorrow, but my pre-order came early. It's like such a big book, but it's beautiful. And yeah, I just want to like plug her for a second. If you don't follow her on Twitter, I'm gonna link her below because it's so insightful. She is someone who has worked and trained in clinical psychology, psychotherapy, behavioral therapy, but also is fascinated by tarot and like mythologies and different ways of knowing. And so she has compiled all of that into this book, and also into her Twitter account. She pulls a tarot card every day and like shares a little bit of wisdom kind of related to the card, but they're not traditional interpretations or whatever. They're based on like psychology and therapy. So it's a really interesting intersection and a really helpful one to me. I always find something valuable, and so I'm really excited to read this book. And I actually read like 30 pages of this last night because I just kind of couldn't wait, and I just was like feeling like wanting to, I don't know, get into some self-help stuff. So yeah, definitely this book is like, I think feels like more of a self-help book than like a book about reading tarot cards. It's not, you know, divination at all. It's very much like just trying to like know yourself deeper. So I'm really pleased with it. It has really beautiful illustrations of all the cards, and then like a bit about them and how they can be interpreted as like a little a little bit of wisdom about the human experience or whatever. So I definitely recommend this if you're at all interested in tarot and also psychology and self-care, acceptance, and growth. But yeah, that's what I've been reading. It's not part of this vlog, but that's what I've been reading. Okay, I think that I have to go now because something is happening. If the love cakes happen before I finish all these books, you'll know about it, but it is what it is. So, yep, I'm in my car. I just had to run an errand, and I was like, you know what? Let me just say hello to my vlog before I go back inside because Connor is going to be on the phone, as usual, for work. So, I like Mary Jane. I read a bunch more of it last night, and I was like really starting to get into it. I think I'm now maybe somehow have shifted my, just like I'm understanding it as a coming of age story instead of like just historical fiction, I guess. In the ways that Mary Jane, our young protagonist, is like, you know, learning about life and love from people who aren't her parents and learning about like lifestyles that are not her parents' lifestyle. And that's coming of age. And, you know I had said some things about the bigotry being displayed, but now I'm not just gonna like take back what I said about it because I meant that. But I will say just that like, it's used as a way for Mary Jane to be like questioning her parents' lifestyle and beliefs, and, you know, thinking about how just because they're her parents doesn't mean that they necessarily like know what's right or what's best. And I think that's a crucial element to any coming of age story. So that is what it is. But yeah, things are getting a little spicy. Not spicy. But they are getting more like intense. Just the sort of family dramas that are unfolding, and I just love Mary Jane and this little girl Izzy, although I do think it's a little bit outrageous that this young charge just like goes along with all the things that Mary Jane is doing. Like Mary Jane is basically functioning as a housekeeper for this family, and also just like dragging Izzy along, and she kind of, I think, feels that she has to take on a motherly role with Izzy because her mom is like not going to teach her how to be a homemaker. So Mary Jane is kind of doing that because she's like, this is what my mom did with me, this is what I'm doing with you, for better or for worse, kind of. Yeah, and I like it, and that's that. I'm almost done with it, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish both books by Wednesday, which is what I wanted to do. Last night I probably would have gotten a lot more reading done, but me and Connor went over to Connor's sister's apartment. We had some really good ramen that I did not get any vlog footage of, but it was delish. And then we tried to watch Dune, but I don't know, Jenna's surround sound was just doing too much to me, and that movie has a lot of sound stuff going on, and I don't know, I was like tired, my head kind of hurt, and I just could not follow a single thing that was happening. So maybe we'll try and watch Dune again another night. But so far my opinion is that I don't know what the heck is going on with Dune, but I think I do still want to watch it. Anyway, I don't think we're gonna do that tonight though. I don't know what we're gonna do tonight. Oh, and I made some little pumpkin oatmeal bars, I guess. I usually put them in a cupcake shape. A muffin perhaps is more appropriate comparison, but those were being used for something else, so I made little pumpkin spice oatmeal loaves. Yay! Anyway, that's been your update, and now I have to go back inside and go to my desk and work. Great. I hope I can finish at least one of the books tomorrow, but I think overall I still have like 300 pages to read, so that's not likely. Okay, so I'm using Foundry Side as my little table. We're gonna just see what happens in here. Steam happens. It's definitely wet inside, but it didn't gush. Sad, but still delicious. Okay, so oh god, I think my butt is like not technically good right now, but it's Wednesday night. I had in my wildest dreams hoped to post this video today, but obviously not happening, and that's fine. We're just hanging out, we're taking our time, we're not putting a lot of pressure on ourselves, we're not worried about anything. We are just reading and enjoying, and I have been reading and enjoying. First of all, I enjoyed the squash that I made for dinner last night. It was so good, and I had it again for lunch tonight. And then for dinner today, I had the rest of the butternut squash soup, a different squash situation that I made days ago. Anyway, about the books, yeah, I think I have like 50 pages of Mary Jane, so I'm hoping to finish that tonight. And I have like 85 pages of Foundry Side left. We're getting there. And I like it took a turn today. It really took a turn. Things started to get bananas, and there was like 15 pages where I was like, what? But then I kind of caught up, and now I'm having fun again. It's just like a lot happens, and I know that it's a trilogy, so I know that there's gonna be more, so I'm like, what's gonna happen? I mean, I know now, I kind of know what's gonna happen, but things were touch and go there for a while. And yeah, I do stand by whatever I've said in the past about the magic system in this being like fun and interesting. It is fun and interesting, and also like it's funny. It's not all Tony Soprano, but it is funny. Okay, we have reached the end. I read the 2 books that Carbon selected for me, and honestly, he did a great job. Earlier today, me and Connor took Carbon to the dog beach, and while we were there and the 2 of them were playing, I finished Mary Jane, which was fantastic. And I mean, it was fantastic to finish it, but also it was a really sweet book. I mean, the ending was honestly maybe like too cute, but I think that I have like an impulse to like when like a book is like cute, but I'm trying to like just like be aware of that that's a thing that I do, and I'm just trying to notice what comes up for me when I read certain things. So when I read the ending of Mary Jane, it wrapped up very nicely. Things, you know, there was like it was optimistic, it was, you know, I don't want to give anything away, but it was sweet. So there's that. I definitely do recommend it. I think I started off like kind of like, but by the end, I think it was a really sweet book. And, you know, just like if you liked books like The Girls by Emma Cline, I think you would like it. Or if you like Daisy Jones and the Six, I didn't read that, but it feels like you might like this too. Yeah, like if you're into any of those like 60s books, because that's what this is. But it had a very timely, you know, feel. There was a lot of talk of music and stuff. 60s, there was some drugs, sex, rock and roll, you know, but all in a nice little book, a sweet little package. Wow. And Foundry Side, what a delight. I think I talked a lot about how I didn't consider it a heist book earlier in this video, but I changed my mind. It's a heist book. Don't listen to me. Yeah, and it was a good book. It's a really timely take on capitalism, I think, and in capitalist culture, a society, all while, being a fantasy with a main character who is flawed, but, doing her best. I don't know that I would call them morally gray characters, but just like nobody was like, a shining hero, okay? Like these are folks who've been through some stuff and they are trying, and that's really all you can ask. Specifically about the story, I think that it kept me moving. It was it didn't feel like 500 pages is what I'll say. Like I think that the Farseer trilogy, those books felt like 500 or 700 pages, but this book did not feel like that at all. It felt like, a 350 page book. It moved, and it just like a lot was happening, so that always keeps me really engaged. And there's a learning curve whenever you start a new fantasy world, but that's part of the fun. I'm looking forward to the rest of this trilogy. I'm excited to see like what new chaos is going to happen, because I think that, I forget the author's name, but I think that he's gonna continue like packing a punch with his books. Like I feel like I'm gonna be like, ah, while I'm reading them, which is what I want. So yeah, I already put a hold on the second one. I forget what it's called, but I did it. Shorefall, that's what it's called. I put a hold on that at my library, and I'm kind of annoyed, to be honest, because having started this new series has kind of thrown a wrench into my plans for Squash That Series Weekend Edition, which is happening towards the end of November. I will have the announcement videos from Bailey and Kayla, who are hosting this readathon challenge, as well as the actual dates of the readathon, because I can't remember them right now, but they're down below. And yeah, I didn't participate in the first round that they did because I just like couldn't get myself together in time, but for a shorter edition, I was like, yes, I'm gonna participate. But now that I have started a new series, it kind of shuffles some things for me, and I kind of don't want to start, like, I don't like to read the sequel right away. Like, I want to finish like digesting the first book and like letting it settle before I read the second book. So I felt like an adequate amount of time had passed for me to, whatever. This is not that video. This is not that video. If you want to know more about that little conundrum, you're just gonna have to wait for my Squash That Series vlog when that happens. The dates are down below. With that, I think I will just I'll close this out, wrap it up. This has been Carbon Picks My Books. He did a fine job. I mean, I did like both the books, but I don't think he took his job very seriously. I'll be honest, it didn't seem like he was really bringing a lot of thought to the matter of like which book I should read. So I don't know if I'm gonna really get him in here to do that again. But I appreciate that he took the time to eat a bunch of treats that I put on the floor. And that's all that I can say about that. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting, liking, subscribing. I appreciate it. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.